my name is Danny, and today I will show you how to use the eelectron IO44E01KNX module as a one-room controller using a CJC switch and the KNX protocol. Let's have a look at the wiring first. As you can see here, I'm using every output of the module. The first one is used for lighting, the second one for valve control, and the third one and the fourth one for the blind control. Now, concerning the inputs, I'm using a 2-gang push button from CJC Systems as input 1 and 2, which are going to act on turning on and off and dimming the lights. For this, I'm also using an eelectron DM03E01KNX dimming actuator for the dimming. And so, as you can see here, this is how I wired the push buttons. So the green wire is the switch common, and it's wired on terminal 3, which is this one, and the other the two push buttons are wired on terminal 4 and 5 and on input 1 and 2 from the eelectron module. So my third input is a conventional timer that is going to act on the valve control, and the fourth input is a basic 230 volts retractor switch that will act on outputs 3 and 4, which are used for the blinds. Now let's see how we can build that project on ETS. I'm going to create the ETS project. So click the green plus and name your project. I'll call this one room controller. Then press create project. Now, in order to keep your project organized, you can create a building layout. So I will change my building name to home. And then I'm going to add a room called living room. Okay. After that, we need to create a topology in order to give an individual address to our devices. So first I need to go to topology, and then we can see that there's only one area with one line that are created. So I'm just going to rename that line, name it just controller. Okay, so afterwards we need to add devices to our ETS project. In order to place the devices directly in the line we want, just pick the line you want and then click on add devices, like this. Yeah, so as you can see, the manufacturer catalog just appeared. In this project, we are only going to use the IO44 module and the DM03 dimmer, so we only need to add these devices. In order to find them quickly, you can just use the research bar. Yeah, this is the IO44 module. And for some devices you will have to pick them from other projects, so I have to take the dimmer from a different project, so I will just drag and drop it to the controller line. Okay, now let's have a look at the parameters of our devices to see if anything has to be changed. So in the IO44 module, according to what I've shown you on the wiring diagram, inputs and outputs have to be changed. So first, let's enable every input. Okay, so for input 1, and we can leave it as it is. It will only turn on and off the lights. Input 2, we have to change its functions to dimming because we want to use this input to dim the lights. Then input 3, we can also leave it on and off function. And input 4 will be used to control the blinds. Shadow command, since it's a retractive switch, let's just set it to move up, move down. Okay, now let's have a look at the output configuration. So output 1 can remain a generic load control. Output 2 needs to be changed to electric valve control. And output 3 and 4 need to be coupled since it's going to be used for the blinds or the shutters. Okay, now I don't need to change anything from output 1 and output 2. I'm only going to change the shadow travel time of the blinds to 5 seconds. It should be okay. Okay, that should be it for the IO44. Now let's check for the dimmer. Okay, I am only going to change the number of outputs used because we are only going to need one. And that's it. Now I don't need to change anything from these. Now we need to create group addresses in order to allow our group objects to communicate. So let's go to group addresses. And first you need to create a main group. I will call it living room. Then you need to create a middle group. I will call it controller. And then you can create your group addresses. So I'm only going to need 5 group addresses, which will be lights on and off, lights dimming, the valve control, the blinds up or down, and blinds step stop. Now that our group addresses have been created, we can use the group objects from our devices. So let's go back to our devices and see what we're going to need. Or actually, I'll just show the whole project route because I think it's much easier to add the group objects to the group addresses this way. So this is the IO44. We are going to need output 1, which is used for the lights on off, the electric valve driver on the valve control, and the shutter movement on blinds up and down, and shutter stops and louvers to blinds step stop. Okay, now for the inputs. So input 1 will go on light on off. Input 2 on off dimmer goes to dimming. Input 3 goes to the valve control. Shutter movement, of course, to blinds up down. Input 2 goes to dimming. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I've added the wrong group objects. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so this group object goes to lights on and off, sorry. And the dimming actually goes to dimming, of course. Ah, come on. Okay, sorry, I just had a little issue with this group address, but the problem has been solved. And the stop steps of input 4 in blind step stop. Now let's see what we need to take from the dimmer. Okay, so we're obviously going to need the output 1 on and off, on lights on and lights off, and the dimming to lights dimming. And that should be it for our dimmer. And now that our project is ready, we are going to download the individual addresses as well as the applications to our devices. In order to do that, you need to make sure that your PC is connected to your the USB interface of your installation via USB cable. So first, let's download the individual addresses. Let's download the individual address, for the IO44. Okay, it is going to ask to press the programming button on the device. And after you pressed it, it should be downloading. Oops. Okay, so now that this is done, you can download the application. And do the same for the dimmer and everything should be okay. So as you can see, this is the Electron module that I'm going to use. So 4 outputs and 4 inputs. And this is the 2-gain CJC system push button that I'm using to control the lights and the dimming of the lights. So let's try it. So this is on and off function, and the other button is the dimming up and dimming down. So this works perfectly. And this is the 230 volts retractive switch that I'm using to control the shutters. So let's see how it works. Okay. Going up, stop, going down, and stop. So there you go. So this was how to use the IO44 module from Eelectron as a one-room controller. Thank you for watching.